What I learned from buying a large lawn care company. Hey everyone, my name is Jacob Godar and I'm the owner of Scooter's Lawn Care. And my channel helps contractors deliver and clients experience a luxurious everyday life through property transformations. If you've bought a lawn care company, bought a landscaping company, bought a company in general, leave your comments below on what that was like, the problems, the good things, anything you can think of, because I'm super interested to hear from others. But we're gonna talk about what I learned from buying a large lawn care company. One of the biggest things that contracts can be tedious to put together and agree on, and can be very expensive if you're having a lawyer make all the changes and you're making sure it's etched in stone the way it needs to be, so everything's binding and everything's to the book and correct. And that was something that was super important for me. The larger and the more expensive of a purchase or bigger of a company or whatever it is that you're going to be purchasing. To me, it was very, very important to whatever that dollar amount was, to pay someone to make sure everything was signed and under contract, and there was no wishy-washy between me and the owner of the older company. It was cut and dry. So no matter what the situation was, whether he was in the wrong, I was in the wrong, in the future, it could all be resolved very easily by referring back to this contract and setting up all of your payments and the purchasing and how everything is done. So it's cut and dry. That was a huge, huge point to me. And it was something that, I knew it was gonna be expensive, but now I know that, we spent north of $5,000 for the contract, but to me it was worth every cent. But depending on how much time you spend, know that that's gonna happen. I did know it in the back of my head, and every little back and forth I used my lawyer for. When we closed, I had my lawyer there conferencing in on the phone, so I knew everything was the way it needed to be. But just know that in the back of your head, that if you're gonna make a big purchase on a lawn landscape company or some kind of big company, that you're gonna wanna make sure this contract pertains exactly to what you're doing, and that it is spot on the money and protecting you against the things you need to be protected and protecting the other person. It should be like a mutually beneficial deal. So point number 2 would be to do it with as little equipment purchased from the past business as possible. And why do I say this? There's certain things like trucks I don't mind getting. There's a lot of times we gotta fix them and this and that. That's always something we're doing. We got a mechanic that's doing that 2 or 3 nights a week, working on equipment and small tools. When it comes down to the mowers and the blowers, and I knew this going in, and we did buy a fair amount of stuff, but you're always buying someone else's problems when it's not new. Not that anything was bad or mistreated or anybody was trying or ever tries to get one over on anyone, but anything that's used by someone else, it's just like anyone that uses a piece of stick equipment, some kind of two-stroke, two-cycle equipment, it like becomes like it's got a mind of its own after a certain amount of time. And having to purchase a bunch of stuff and then not really know what it's thinking because it's got a mind of its own, and then having to figure that out when you're already in the middle of this big transaction trying to take on and build and encompass another business just adds more to the headache. So that was something that I knew this going in, but the purchase and how some of the stuff went has solidified that for me, that try to do it with as much of your own equipment, not the stuff you buy from the other company, or plan to purchase brand new equipment to service those accounts, because owners can always sell everything in an auction, get rid of stuff. It's so easy to move equipment, even if you can't sell it in the purchase of a business now. But so that was something that's foremost, because there was a lot of mowers that they had problems when we got them, and we're still, we've been fixing stuff. And I think I had 3 or 4 weed eaters that I was hoping would work and now don't work. And it's not a big deal. I expected that. You gotta expect those things. That's why I eliminated so much equipment off the list. I only picked the stuff I absolutely had to have, and then knew that some of it was gonna need to be replaced. I wanted as few mowers as possible because they didn't run the same kind of equipment we did, and I wanted to quickly be able to upgrade to what we want to use and start buying new stuff for our teams. That leads us into point number 3. So our teams, this is something that I didn't even think about, but I was big on if we were going to keep employees, and we didn't keep many. We were pretty strenuous on hiring, and we kept less than half their staff on the field work, and then have hired new people since. I wanted to honor people's wages to make them feel more comfortable to transition, and I didn't really realize that if there was someone that may be getting overpaid for a position, or that position here doesn't pay that rate, that's a different level position, that honoring wages, I never thought all the way into the future of how if someone was even getting paid $1 more than what equal place at this shop would be. I never thought of the controversy that would cause, because even though you don't think people talk about wages and people, I never get the reason, because it's nobody else's business, but people talk about wages and then people get upset about their wages. So that was point number 3 that stuck out really big to me about the team. And then the final point, encompassing it all, when you're taking someone's thoughts, their years, in this example, 20 years of clients and services created and things they do and intricacies, and basically simplifying and uploading all of this is going to take twice as long as you think. Everything you think, hey, it's going to take a month, it's going to take 2. You think it's going to take 2 months, it's going to take 4. It's going to take an hour, it's probably going to, heck, it could take 4. It's crazy, you know? But just like there was a lot of, in this purchase, there was a lot of services that we didn't have it so individual. We have one service that covers more of that, which makes it easy for us to manage and keep track of. And it was a lot more cut and dry for us. So we're having to piece some of these things together and put them into our system. And that doesn't make them wrong the way before or right now. It just takes a lot of time to dig into someone else's, what they were pulling out of their brain, and depending on how much is really there for you to try to decipher, and build it into what your company is, and then also make that mesh with all of their existing clients. So those were the 4 big points that I learned from this, or knew, and it solidified knowing after doing this. And it's something to think about when you're going to purchase some large company, and you're going to have employees that you're going to have to rehire them and bring them onto your team since the other company's been shut down, or if you're going to have to hire all new employees. It brings up some of the big points that happened to me for buying something that, you know, is upwards closer to like $1 million company, in the intricacies and the thought process that can go into that. So if anyone has any other questions, concerns, or anything they'd like me to answer, leave that in the comments below. This is a really cool video. I've loved this transition. It has been a challenge, and everything worth doing is a challenge and hard, and this has been worth it. Everyone, I can't wait to talk to you soon.